Dr. Hibberd, you're a Canadian. It's great to see a fellow Canadian here. Why did you come to Geneva?
Well, I've been working internationally and getting to know the doctors and scientists, and became very aware of what's going on at the very beginning of the pandemic. So this is just a natural place for me to be with my colleagues. We've been working together for 4 years. I've been involved in organizations and alliances and helped start them throughout Canada and throughout the world. So we're here together, and it's like our family all coming together. And we're standing up together to show you, everybody in the world, that you have the power to speak up and stand for your rights, and that's what we're here to do.
I'm impressed that you do that. Sometimes when people who are doctors do that, they get investigated by the College of Physicians and Surgeons. Have you been censored for speaking up?
Oh, come on, that's an easy answer. I'm a dental surgeon, and yes, I have had my college investigate me. And I went through a whole period, about a year and a half. I still have my license, and I hope to keep my license, but we'll see what happens. So, but yes, this is inevitable that censoring is happening. The censoring happened very early on for me when I started doing videos on YouTube. And there was no such thing as alternative media back then, so there was really just a handful of us. And we came together with groups across the world, doctors and scientists. So we were talking together and trying to get that information out of what's going on in all the countries, because the same thing was happening in every single country. And then started getting censored. And actually, we have media here from Japan, and probably the first video that was taken down on my YouTube channel was a video on natural immunity. We didn't talk about any early treatments. We just talked about things we've been talking about for decades. Your natural immunity. WHO had a natural immunity site, but at that point in time, they took that site down. So that was the first video that got taken down. We're talking with an international orthomolecular medicine president of the society about natural immunity, vitamin C, keeping a healthy body, how to do that. So you know that there's some big issues at stake here if that's happening. That was the beginning of my censorship. So I started getting shadow banned because I was writing papers, international papers with other doctors and scientists. We're all helping each other early on, and that was all getting shadow banned. My computer crashed, all of these things, and that's when I turned around and realized that I'm a strategist too. So I got involved in launching alliances, and I co-launched Canadian COVID Care Alliance. I'm on the board of Vice President of the Canada Health Alliance, which is bringing all of the healthcare workers together across the country to help provide a safe space for them to work and operate and still work within the constraints that we're getting put upon us by the government, and to still be able to operate and provide service to people, because the health is important and people are so scared of everything to do with their health. So we want to empower them and strengthen them as best we can.
You know, I don't know you well at all. I've followed you a little bit online. If I were to characterize you, which I don't mean to be rude, I would say that you're very much part of the norm and the establishment. You're a fairly prominent, if I may say, successful dental surgeon. Like, you're not, to coin a word, you're not a quack or a crank. You're polite society, even, if I may. I mean, that's how you look from the outside. And if someone who is as, quote, normal and establishment as you is being silenced, not only does that affect your freedom and the freedom of people who want to listen to you, it drives people away from you, who I regard as a reputable, credible doctor, into perhaps people who are less credible, people who might actually be conspiracy theorists. The fact that the medical establishment, the College of Physicians, YouTube and other social media are silencing your voices, what they're actually doing is they're driving people to radical voices. I think it's a double shame what they're doing.
Well, I don't speak with a radical voice. I think that there's common ground for everybody all across the board. And I feel that that's our place, is to find that common ground. I wouldn't consider myself a radical activist, and as such, I think I can hold my position. And you just create that common ground with people that everybody can relate to. And I think being here at the WHO And if people actually took the time to read the pandemic treaty, I think everybody would agree that we do want to have freedom of health choices in our lives. And I think across the board, if people had the opportunity, knew what was going on, and this is what our message is have a look, do the research, and then you make your personal decision.
I know there's a lot of people you want to meet here because there's folks from so many different countries, so many different backgrounds, so I want to be respectful of your time. But can you give our viewers maybe a 2 or 3 minute briefing on the actual draft treaty? I understand that they couldn't yet, finalize it. There was still some quarreling, but they'll get there. I mean, it's like the UN's treaties on so many other things, global warming, let's say. Every single year they come and amend it and add to it, and I mean it's a permanent bureaucracy. Tell us what the global pandemic treaty looks like now in its gestational state, and where does it look like it's heading?
Well, at this point in time, it looks like the pandemic treaty is getting postponed. And there's a number of countries that didn't want to participate, so it's disturbed it. Plus, they were creating a number of changes. And officially, they say that they give 4 months for feedback once they make a change. So I think they were trying to pull it together. It sounds like they're postponing that. International health regulations was at one point rather separate from the pandemic treaty. It's now very much interlinked. So take the time to go and look up on the site of the WHO. You can access this information. Basically, pandemic treaty wants to call out and be the guardian of decision making as to what is a pandemic, when they can call it a pandemic in any country, and also instituting the pandemic mandates in any country they wish to do it, or across the world again.
So that would give the UN the power to flip on the pandemic status in any particular country?
Yes, they've tied together the climate with health, because it's all interrelated anyways. So this is a big issue, and everybody really should take the time to have a look at this and see, because talk with people in your local community and just start to find out this information, because I can say anything, like this, but it's not real until you actually do the research for yourself, make a decision. The language they use is very gentle, kind language, and it's, One Health, all of this, that's, they want to make things better for everybody. But if you just take that quiet time to read through it and you realize that your freedom is being compromised, that's an important thing to do. So,
you know what? This is an energetic group, and it's not a bad size. There's hundreds of people here, but my own observations, especially in Canada, the intensity of feeling on this issue has subsided with the passage of time. People want to get back to their regular life. They want to forget about the lockdowns and that terrible time. But the bad guys are not resting. They're gathering there. They thought the pandemic and lockdowns was the best time in the world. That was their time to shine. That was when they got fame and power and money, and they shaped the world undemocratically. Ordinary people have moved on in the main, but the other side has studied what they did and how they can do it again. That's my sense of things. I'm a little bit worried that ordinary Canadians, Americans, people around the world have moved on, but the UN has not.
Well, I think this is happening in every single country because COVID-19 is over. When people get sick now, they are not that worried about it. It's slipping back into into common ground with the flu and pneumonia and the common cold. So it's understandable that people are doing that, but have faith. It's a time for people to go into a calmer zone, and maybe then they will take this time to look into, what is the WHO to all of us? We've always looked at it as this kind of Eiffel Tower, or this tower of goodness and power that is going to take care of us. It's the overseer of our health and wellness. But it's time to have a look at it and realize, wait a minute, these are not elected officials. None of us elected these people.
Teresa Tam is here.
Who are they? Who are these people? Well, they weren't even elected in their own country. I'm not talking about Teresa Tam.
Right.
She was,
I mean, the bureaucrats at the UN.
Yeah, that actually run it. Who is running it? Who's putting money into this? Whose interests are being taken care of now? Is it our interests, or is it the different corporate structures that have got their own personal interests? And what are they backing? And this is the time to look into that. So it's actually not a bad thing that people are calming down and thinking things are over, because that helps them step away from that state of fear that you're easily influenced when you're suffering from, the fear of what next. So this is a good time for people, I think, and you have to be very optimistic with everything. So, and this is a very exciting time to be alive, very exciting. We're definitely in for changes, whatever it might be, and consider it a very exciting time. And whether you like it or not, we all chose to be here at this point in history, and we're here to experience this. So happy to be here and happy to talk with you.
It's great to see you.
Thank you.
And we'll keep admiring your work from afar, but hopefully we'll also follow you more closely. I like your attitude. I like your approach. You're a happy warrior. You're very careful and thoughtful. And I think you're a real leader. Thank you for spending time with us.
You have to respect everybody's position, and you cannot, you can't cross the lines with people who don't think like you. But this has always been the case. Why should we be feeling it's any different now and get frustrated by that? It's okay. And you gauge how you speak to people so that you can engage on common ground, because there is an awful lot of common ground. We have the gender issues. We've got what's going on in the schools issues. Parents that are confused, feeling like they have no rights. There's another example where the parents have a lot more rights than they think they do. So, there's a lot of common ground that we can all share and learn from. So, happy to be here.
Thanks very much. Great to talk with you. Geneva's a pretty far journey. There's no direct flights from Canada, so we had to sort of hop, skip, and jump our way here. We're staying economy class, but between the two of us, the flights and the hotel will add up to more than $2,500. If you can help me cover the cost of that at nopandemictreaty.com, I'd be grateful. I'll give you as many updates as I can. We're going to try and jam in as many interviews and as much coverage as we can in 2 days, and we'll be back in Canada to ring the alarm bells. Visit nopandemictreaty.com.